Hey guys, Sean, kayak angler. Today I decided to sit down and just make a quick video and answer some questions that I usually get, whether it's people I know or just out fishing, especially kayak fishing. A lot of times when I come back in, when I launch, the beaches are empty. When I come back in, people are out surf fishing, swimming, whatever, and people tend to ask me a lot of questions. So I figured I'd just make a quick video and answer some of those questions. Alright, so here we go. I started fishing when I was about 20 years old. I lived in northwest New Jersey, and I used to work with a guy that was a big trout fisherman. So I started going trout fishing with him. And then after trout season wound down around May, June, when the water started getting too warm for trout, I discovered largemouth bass fishing. And I've been doing both ever since, including crappie fishing and saltwater fishing and ice fishing. So I was about 20 years old when I first started. The way I got into kayak fishing, I had bought a boat, 13-foot aluminum V-hull boat, and I couldn't register it with motor vehicle because there was no paperwork with it. There was no bill of sale, there was no previous title. Boat was a 1968 boat, I believe it was made by Sears. They wouldn't register it, and in order to use the boat in freshwater lakes with the motor, I needed to have it registered. And since I couldn't get it registered, I didn't want to run the boat illegally. So I traded it for kayak. And I haven't looked back. Do I want another boat? Yeah, it would be nice. It'd be nice to have a boat. But for now, kayak fishing for me is just the way to go. Nothing better than kayak fishing. Nothing better than catching a fish off a kayak. Just wish I got into it earlier than I did. There's a lot of reasons why I kayak fish. I think one of the main reasons is it's once you get into it and you get comfortable with it, it's really easy. So much easier than a boat. With a boat you got to worry about engine maintenance, gas, trailering, launch fees. With the exception of Manasquan Reservoir, which charges $6 to launch, I don't pay. Freshwater, saltwater, it doesn't matter. I don't pay. It's easy to launch. You drive, get to the parking lot, get a cart for the kayak, wheel it right onto the beach, up to the water, and then you launch and you go. Coming back, same thing. Bring it right to the truck, throw it back to the truck, you're gone. There's no line. You don't have to sit in a launch retrieve line. When I have my boat, sometimes when I got to the ramp, by the time I started heading out to fishing, could be half an hour. By the time you wait, you turn, launch, park, come back. With the kayak, you just get in and go, and it's a lot easier. Like I said, there's also no, you don't have to worry about gassing up, mechanic bills, storage fees, or storage. My kayak goes in the garage. If I need the garage, if I need space, I got a back porch I can put it in, or you can build a rack system in the yard and store them in the yard. It takes up very little room compared to a boat. So, like I said, a lot of reasons why I kayak fish, but to me it's the best fishing platform there is. How much a kayak costs really depends. It depends on what you're looking to do. You want to fish freshwater, saltwater, lakes, rivers, bays. If you're going to do like I do, fish freshwater, saltwater, go on Craigslist. You can find a nice package deal, kayak, seat, paddle, some accessories, fish finder rod holders. You can find one anywhere from $600 to $800. If you want like a Hobie or a native watercraft Propel, you're going to be spending a little more, typically over $1,000. Although there's not many Propels out there used yet, but there are some Hobies, usually around $1,200 to $1,500 and up. But like I said, you want to get in freshwater, saltwater, $600 to $800, you get a nice kayak. If you really want to go cheap, you can spend $200. Just get a kayak and a paddle, and a seat. That's all you really need, and a life jacket. Life jacket, very, very important. Always wear your life jacket. But you can get $200. You can get in, but you're not gonna have any fancy kayak. But at least you'll be out in the water. So typically when someone is asking, how much does a kayak cost, I'm gonna ask them questions. What are you gonna do? Because it depends. $800 on Craigslist, you can find a really good setup, and then take it from there. I've been kayak fishing a few years, and I'm on my third kayak already, and I already have my next one picked out. Just gotta get the money for it, but $600 to $800, you should be good to go. Freshwater or saltwater? That's a tough choice. I started fishing freshwater, and I fished freshwater for probably 15 years before I really started fishing salt. And if you had asked me back then, I would have said freshwater hands down. These past few years, I've really, really been getting into saltwater, especially fluking. I did a lot of fluking this past summer. Striper fishing is probably one of my favorites. Fluking's right up there. But I still love catching largemouth bass, especially in the spring on soft plastics. Nothing beats it. Then the flukes start, and then after the fluke, you got the fall stripers, and you got fall largemouth bass fishing too. So, I wish I could pick one and stick with it, because it'd be a lot easier. Because when I set up my kayaks for fishing, freshwater is different than saltwater. Obviously, I'm bringing different gear, so I set it up separately. So sometimes I wish I could pick one and stick with it. But on the other hand, being into both does have its advantages. A couple of times I was set to go saltwater fishing, and the weather started getting bad. The wind picks up, and it gets really snotty out in the bay. I can turn to freshwater. A lot of my friends that fish strictly salt, if the trip gets blown out, they're done. They're back home watching TV. All I gotta do, if I didn't leave yet, just swap out the gear. Even if I headed out, all I gotta do is come home, swap out the gear, and then I can go to a freshwater lake. So in that sense, it's good. So if I had to pick, what do I prefer, fresh or salt? I like them both. And I'll continue to fish for both. And here in New Jersey, I'm lucky. I can leave my house with the kayak, and within 20 minutes, half an hour, I could be fishing fresh or saltwater. I got my choice of both. So, like I said, I'll be fishing both for a very long time. So that's some of the questions that people ask me the most. Like I said, if you have any other questions that you want to ask, or if you want to add to any of the questions I answered, just comment, leave a comment, send me an email, realfanatic68@yahoo.com, REELFINATIC68@yahoo.com, and I'll answer them. Alright? I'll see you guys later.